So my name is Elyse. I'm a current clinical psychology postdoc fellow here at the Mind, and I'm presenting my leadership project on creating a sustainable adult learning toolbox for the LEM community partners. So to start, I wanted to describe an aspect of our LEM training program that this is really based off of, and that a handful of trainees in the current cohort participated in, where we created materials to lead discussions, presentations, and trainings at our community partner locations. This year, that included Oak Park Preschool and St. John's, and in the past, also Head Start programs. These presentations were provided by trainees across a variety of disciplines and really geared towards different members of the community, so including both teachers and parents. So for this leadership project, I decided with Vanessa that it would be a great opportunity to create a centralized and public library of these trainings so that our community partners have continued access to these materials. On a personal note, I participated in LEM twice before this program throughout my graduate training, and I saw how often these amazingly talented trainees created and provided amazing presentations, projects, resource hubs, only for that to be accessed one time or at best once a year. And just given the yearly turnover of this kind of training program, it makes a lot of sense. And so for this, I really was kind of inspired and wanted to hone in on the sustainability of that information for our community partners through the centralized hub of resources, trainings, and information, so we can hopefully continue that dissemination process. Additionally, something that we also took into kind of like the forefront of our minds for this library of information was to create viable avenues for adult learning processes for different adult learning styles. So we know that some people are much more engaged in a video presentation. Some people are going to be more engaged when they're able to self-direct their learning by reading something, taking breaks, coming back to it. So we really tried to include as many different styles of learning material as we could. So to create this toolbox, I looked into the best standards for adult learning, which can be different than when we think of like classic pedagogy for the classroom for kids. And so I really ended up modeling this toolbox after the CDC's principles on adult learning. And these principles up here are the ones that really tapped into the self-directed nature, which is really the nature of the toolbox, and how we kind of imagined it would be used in the future. And really what we wanted to do was one, create sustainability, again, not to just keep saying that word over and over again, but continued access to this information. Also highlight the experience that our community partners are already bringing to the table. They are experts themselves, and this is really just kind of a collaboration of, here are some expert trainees, you are the experts as well. How can we just continue this line of communication so it doesn't get lost in the wind? And including strategies for promoting information retention, practical application, and respect for our community partners and those that they serve. So the toolbox itself is made up of materials from the community presentations from this year and from the past few years of training cohorts. It includes recordings of presentations, PowerPoint slide decks, readings, handouts, worksheets, more, all of the things under the sun. Anything you've created, it's probably in this toolbox. And one thing in particular, which we're hoping that will continue in years to come, is the video recordings of these presentations. From my own personal experience, and I think anecdotally what we've heard, is the inclusion of visual, audio, all of those pieces in that video presentation are just so engaging, and it's much easier to interact with. And so a lot of our current trainees actually did this on top of their current community presentation, and then also recorded another presentation that would be used in this toolbox, which is so helpful. Thank you to you all who did that. Okay, so the toolbox itself is organized into these content domains. There is, of course, overlap, as we all know, working in this field. It's truly interdisciplinary, but I did my best to kind of create a few umbrella terms so that, given the self-directed nature of the idea behind this toolbox, people can kind of choose which path they would like to go down as far as the resources they're looking for, and related to their own learning goals. To give you an idea of some of the amazing work that's included, but definitely not limited to, work that our trainees have created, developed, presented, and now our partners will continue to have access to. Some off the top of my head are, positive behavior supports in the classroom, both directed to teachers who are having those classrooms on a day-to-day basis, but also for parents to kind of utilize some of the similar language at home. Developmental screening information, sleep hygiene recommendations, intro information into neurodevelopmental disorders and screening, language communication development information, presentations on the impact of developmental trauma, and many other various handouts and resources that trainees have provided in the past. So in order to facilitate the use of this library of materials, I created this almost really intense table of contents to serve as a library and almost appendix for these adult learners to access and really pick what they want to learn and what's related to their own goals. So they can map out their own course of study that's relevant to their work, to their family, and to their life. And these guides are really meant to supplement this comprehensive library. And what I did was basically create some handouts that tap into these goals of goal setting and grounding in your personal experience before you listen to these presentations or read through these materials, and then afterwards to really have kind of a mini learning review of like what are the key things that you're taking away, as well as a reflection aspect. But this is an example of the guide I created for the behavior umbrella section, and this is where we can see these adult learning principles in practice. So before you kind of go through the course of study that you're looking for, there are goal setting questions really meant to increase relevance and highlight practicality for these learners. We also have questions related to and thought-provoking questions related to grounding and personal experience. So aiming to remind learners what they already know, that the experience they bring to the table is respected, and provide an opportunity to individualize how they take in that information. So bringing that to the forefront before they go into this information or their presentations they would like to. And then after the learner has gone through the material they'd like to, there are some core learning review questions that are offered to help promote problem-based learning and practical application of the strategies or the information that they read through. So here I've included an example worksheet here on the right side that one of our current trainees had provided during her community presentation. So really a specific handout of taking the vast amount of information that was provided and being like, okay, what is one thing I hope that maybe I could do tomorrow, and use this information to either just reinforce what I'm already doing or maybe try something new. And then finally, the reflection section is really meant to bring us back to your experience as a resource, this nature of flexibility of the learning program, and then personalized future goal setting. Okay, so what's next? Thinking for the future, some ideas I had for ongoing work related to this toolbox might include evaluating how and if community partners are using this toolbox, and if it's an effective adult learning tool, given its self-directed nature. Providing hopefully a starting point for future LEN trainees to work off of in terms of what new presentations to create for our community partners, as well as for our partners to reference and request what information is not already there that they want, or to be like, we really like this, let's do more of it. Let's do a deeper dive into this. We want to follow up on this. And finally, when continuing to add to this toolbox in the years to come, hopefully we can continue to utilize a variety of content formats, in addition to a variety of content domains. So really encouraging our trainees to include video recordings, audio voiceovers if they don't want to be on camera, reading materials, handouts, just a variety of information for a variety of audiences. And then finally, I just want to extend a big thank you to all the trainees who provided recordings and provided materials of this information to include in the toolbox. This project has really been me just trying to highlight all of the work that everyone has done, and so our partners can continue to access that and benefit from it. So, thank you.
The UC Davis Mind Institute was founded in 1998 with the promise to reduce and prevent the disabilities that can be associated with autism and other neurodevelopmental conditions. Every day, our clinicians and researchers make progress on that promise. Our groundbreaking research on autism, Fragile X syndrome, chromosome 22q11.2 deletion syndrome, ADHD, and other conditions associated with disability are helping affected individuals achieve their fullest potential. Please visit our website or our social media platforms to find out more about current studies, upcoming events, and how you can help make a difference.